You're listening to SoFloRadio.com. Z-Nation. Z-Nation. Where consciousness is queen, love really is the answer. And making a difference is on the menu. Z-Nation. Organic beats and inspiring treats. Get your weekly dose of vitamin Z now. This is Z-Nation on SoFloRadio.com.
The mics are hot.
Hola.
Welcome, lovers of love. This is Z-Love, Zayna de Gaia. And we are live right here in Hollywood, Florida. This is Z-Nation, broadcasting on SoFloRadio.com. I walked in this morning, for Sunset and I always come in a little bit early, and we bring breakfast, and we just start the day off slow and start getting ready for the show. And the first thing I said is, well, I don't need to get ready for the show today. All my friends are on, and we're just going to chat. I did spend a little time writing your song.
It's gonna be amazing.
Kelsey.
Last time you didn't sing my song, remember?
I know. Last time you were on the show, I wrote a song for you, and I remember at the end I was like, oh, I didn't sing Kelsey's song. So I wrote you another song. Things have changed since, we're like the kids. And, we met up. Kelsey, thank you for coming back on the show. We have Kelsey Cavanagh, Consciousness, on the show. And this is your second time, so we're going to catch up.
Yes.
Where you've been and what you've been up to. We have Sergio Mora on the show. Same thing. Sergio, you were like the fourth guest or something. I don't know. But welcome back.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yes. And you've been around and back, and we're going to hear about that. And we have Moses Love on the show. Moses, you've also been one of the first guests, and you've returned home. Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you,
It's family day, and then we have Melody, Sunset Sisters in the house.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hello.
And Mama Julie's in the house. Welcome, Mama, our friend and teacher. So we have a full house today. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's take a moment together. Let's take a moment wherever you are and just connect with that divine presence within all of us, between each one of us, present all the time in our hearts. We connect to it through our breath, through our feet on Pachamama, through each other, gazing into one another's eyes. We're so excited. We had somebody come in today, and they took a photo of us, and we were sharing what we did. And, I'm so grateful to have so many friends and know so many amazing people who are doing really great things in the world. People ask me, how do you get your guests for Z-Nation? And for like the 8th month that we've been on the air now, we just keep interviewing our friends, and friends of friends and people in the community. So we're just getting started with the local community of light workers, teachers, and healers. And, really sharing what we do in the world so that people can discover this new world, the teachings, this new consciousness, well, not so new, but the consciousness that humanity is awakening to, the unity. And we're also starting, as of next week, we're starting to do Skype interviews. So we're able to interview people all over the world. We're going to have an interview next week with a remarkable business and marketing consultant who specializes in empowering light healers and people who are out to make a difference in putting themselves out in the world in a way that's effective and that really reaches the people that we want to reach. I think that's really important. So look out for that. And if you're somebody that wants to share your message on Z-Nation, contact us. The best way to contact us is go to ZNationRadio.com. Please check out our website. Me and Sunset have been really working hard at starting to create a platform online that not only provides you with, information on how to reach us, but also as a resource for people to learn about all the different things that are going on in the world that are making a difference in allowing us to do our work here, which is, leaving the planet in a better place than how we found it. And we're all here to do that in our own special way, with our own special gifts, with whatever wisdom and teachings and knowledge that we're being downloaded, each one of us. So this weekend was a powerful weekend. I want to share a little bit about what we did. So we had weekend 3 of the teacher training at I Love Yoga. And we do a very special day that we call primal work. And it's an opportunity for us to tap into that inner child. And that little Kelsey, little Sergio, or little Moses, little Z-Love, baby Gina, baby Emily, and tap into that voice that oftentimes got censored, or, got cut off, or, we were afraid to say what we really, really wanted to say. So the opportunity in that workshop is to let that voice out. And, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to be really scared of that work. Like if you're standing outside of a room and that work is going on and a bunch of people are in it, it sounds a little crazy, because it could be screaming, it could be crying, it could be a lot of sounds that, bring up stuff. But I've come to really love it, and it's really freed me. It's allowed me to discover my voice. It's allowed me to stand up, to be a stand for myself in any situation. And I really welcome any opportunity to let that inner child out, to let that voice out. I know, Moses, you've been doing this work for a little bit. I'd love to hear about, just for you, the evolution of the primal work.
Absolutely. I think there's so many layers to it, but for me right now is kind of tuning in. Not so quick to talk and answer, and just like tuning in is for us to, all honor how we're feeling. In the even though feelings sometimes can be misleading, but nonetheless they're powerful points of like GPS or reference. And so through sound, so I'm just here now, and I just invite us all to tune into how we're all feeling. And one way to do that is stop talking, maybe. It's one possibility, and just start breathing. So if we take a breath. And everyone that's listening to, and the ones in the studio, and let's just take another inhale and just make a sound. So Alec, my teacher Alec, who actually did this work, this primal work, for 50 years. It's like the things we're all working on now, like this radio. Where is ZNation going to be in 50 years? And Alec's work was about being authentic and letting down any of the identification with the ego or wanting to be something that you're not, and just dropping into the inner child. When you were an infant, you cried if you were sad. If you wanted food, you cried. You shit your pants if you needed to. You weren't thinking or editing what you did. And this was an authentic time for all of us. And then we grow up in this world, and we learn how to be the right daughter, the right son, to be the good citizen, to follow your religion, your belief systems. And in that process, in school, we start to lose that connection to our authentic self by fitting into our family, by fitting into the school, by doing what we're supposed to do. So this work is really about peeling off all those layers that have built up over the last, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and going back to when you were an infant and reconnecting that like neural pathway to your authentic self, your authentic sound, your authentic movement, your authentic way of being, walking, talking, dressing, so you could just let all the bullshit like drip off you and just be your true self and love yourself, accept yourself. And, you know, for Alec, this was a lifelong process. And for me, when I first met Alec, it was some of the scariest work I ever did and the most liberating. You know, to be here with you all in the studio right now and to be with, you know, all your listeners around the world, you know, that are listening live now, or live is always happening. Because whenever anybody is listening to this transmission, it's always going to be now. Because now is eternity. And when we tap into that eternal self, then we liberate ourselves. And Alec's work was about liberation and freeing ourselves from trying to be something we're not.
Thank you, Moses. You know, I'm curious to know, because I know you've been in this work for a while yourself, and you've been teaching it to many people. And I'm curious to know how it's transformed you, like what you've learned about yourself through teaching it.
Well, you know, I think in discovering your true self, you have to be courageous to look at your untrue self, your inauthentic self, your bullshit self, your dark self. You have to be willing to look and say, you know, I'm a fucking asshole. I'm a liar. I'm a cheat. I'm a thief. And it's like you have to be willing to kind of turn the microscope on yourself and love yourself and accept yourself exactly how you are and work from there. And so for me is like really, you know, Alec was able to see my ugly Moses, or Michael, the inauthentic one that was pretending, putting on a show, and he loved me. And he accepted me. And that this allowed me to be with myself. So right now, that work allows me, how that has transformed my life. Like right now as I'm talking, I feel like a little bit of, you know, energy, nervous energy, or in my chest. So it's just like, you know, give ourselves permission to honor that. You know, it's kind of like when there's an elephant in the room and no one talks about it. Or whatever it is. If we could just, you know, for me right now, Alec would say, make a sound. So I could just make a sound. You know, soften. Not to try to put on a show. You know, let's all start loving each other and accepting each other. So for me, just bringing that into my life, you know, creating my own reality, you know, with my community and my friends, and having a life that creates freedom for myself and other people. And so, you know, the work is like ongoing. It's never ending. We're like always the student, always on the path when we're working with ourselves or other people. So, I mean, this is ongoing. It'd be great to, you know, do a whole show on this and talk more about this. Cause
we can also like do some work live. And,
yeah,
and,
I mean,
you know,
we're
really
doing
share.
it. We're all in it right now.
But I think, you know, what you said is, you know, the essence of all of it is love. You know, one thing I got out of the weekend and doing the work, I left the workshop saying, wow, love really does heal. Love really does heal. And, you know, loving ourselves, like you said, Moses, and then we can have room to accept others exactly how they are, as assholes, liars, or however people show up, because we all have a little bit of that in us. And
I would
mm-hmm.
love to, I'm not sure the time frame, but Sergio Mora sitting here. And I met Sergio, Sergio and I met maybe 10 years ago at a theater in Miami, in Wynwood, called Cornerstone. And this was a place where artists, musicians, poets, philosophers, you know, all different types of people that were vibrating in that frequency would gather and share. And a lot of this work was done. You know, if you step on stage to share something, you know, you go through a process of like your own metamorphosis, of getting out of your own way. And just being authentic and sharing from your heart without like trying to look good or sound good or be great, when you just be yourself. And I met Sergio back there, and Sergio's been doing this work also. So I'd love, you know, Sergio's done the work in the teacher training. He's done the work with Eric Thompson Green, one of the, you know, great teachers of this work. And so Sergio's in the house. Sergio, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'd love to share because it segues right into talking about what I was doing in New York.
So I know you went to New York and you did a show over there.
Yes, I applied to a program by a company called Triskelion Arts. They're a nonprofit that nurtures up-and-coming artists, so they give the opportunity to perform in their space, get feedback from their professionals, get feedback from an audience, give you professional lights and photos and video. And
Wait a minute, sorry. Last time you were on the show, you were talking about a one-man show. Is this the show?
yes,
So, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you actually went and did it in New York.
yes, I did.
Wow. So if y'all want to go back to a previous show and listen to Sergio's interview, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, you were actually writing that show.
Yes, I was.
And wow.
So
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, so that show actually coming here last time really activated me to put some dates on the calendar, and I got it done. It's still a work in progress, and that's
Yes.
what I was invited to New York to do, to show a new work in progress.
But that's the
with
thing,
this
you know,
company.
it doesn't have to be perfect. Like you just went for it and you did it.
Yeah, and it felt great.
Yeah.
And the way that the primal really ties into it, I learned a lot doing this show, because I learned a lot when I wrote down here. I made a note when Moses said that the primal work is about freeing from trying to be someone you're not. And it's not about putting on a show. And I felt myself as the weeks were winding down to New York and all this material that I had, and the voices, the fraud police comes up. You're not good enough. You're a fraud. This is the material that you're working with. Who wants to hear about your childhood? All these things start coming up, and then you start thinking, who else might be there? And hours before the show, I had to strip back a lot of material to say, what can I pull off without it being a show? I had gimmicks I could have done. And I could have tried to perform like Moses, and I could have tried to emanate Eric and other friends of ours who do things. But it hit me when I would find myself cheating. I went back to the primal and just said, I have to be my authentic self, because even if it's flawed, even if the text is not perfect, even if the material I have is not the best material yet, because it is a work in progress, if I can drop into myself using the primal techniques that I learned with Eric, and if the audience can feel that what I'm communicating is real, they're going to feel something.
Yes.
That might not be felt by some of the most schooled entertainers in the industry. It's just about really being yourself. And I remember trying to worry about the text hours before going on stage, and I just started sounding like Moses just mentioned. I just started sounding and tapping and remembering that my body knows the story it has to tell. I've been developing this forever. And it went to the yoga and to the primal, to just sit and meditate and know that my cells know the story. My body knows the movement. Stop doing it in front of the mirror. Stop reading the text out loud. Just meditate and let it cook, because you know it.
It's like you're allowing more and more to, like, that trust within, to trust yourself and your intuition, and it really takes, it's like taking a risk, or it seems like we're taking a risk when we step out of the mind.
Yeah.
And we're just being.
It's true. And it's because of the primal work that when I thought, what do I have? What are my schools? What is my skill set? Besides having some talent, what have I really learned? And I went right back to the primal work, and I was so happy to have this knowledge in my back pocket.
Guys, when you say the primal work, I'm just thinking of people who have no idea what it is. So how would people access this kind of work, and how would this show up in everyday life? Like, I appreciate that it helps you do your performances, but how can people access this authentic space through the work that you're speaking of?
Well, it's about, like, right now,
Yes.
we're talking, and the people that are listening, you're listening. So you're listening through the consciousness of your hearing senses. So there's many ways to access it, but when we say primal, if you connect with, like, the animal world and your primal nature, which is, like, authentic. So if we drop out of the thinking mind, the thoughts, and we drop into the body, and then you make a sound. So this is one way. It could be a very gentle sound. So just let's try it now. Let's take a few breaths, dropping out of your thinking mind. Drop into the body. And so be connected to that, and just feel that is dropping in. So yeah. And so from this space, you dropped into a zone of being present. So when you're present in the moment, you're not thinking about this or thinking about that. You're present here. And from being present here to the moment will arise. And Alec would say, take a risk. Mm-hmm. So the moment inspires you to like be with, I love you all. I'm so grateful to be here, Gina. Mm-hmm. You know, the moment, when you're present to the moment is so rich. This is what we were talking about, eternity. And so you start channeling the moment. So what that could look like in your life is like you drop out of the surface and you drop into a more rich and authentic moment that you're sharing with anyone or yourself. You know, you drop out of the stresses that the mind has, and you're just in the moment, and then you could speak more authentically or truthful.
I think it sounds like for a lot of people, it's like a muscle that we develop, you know, to ongoingly be in the moment and trust in the moment. I don't know why, Moses, when you were talking, I had this vision of a young lady sitting in her car waiting for an interview for a job. I just saw like a woman sitting in her car and she was going, and like sounding in her car before she walked into this interview to tap into that authentic self, even in a corporate environment.
It can be used, yes.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, yes, absolutely. And another way to also look at it is not developing a muscle, but loosening a muscle that's been developed.
And getting rid of that conditioning that we were talking about before the show.
Unlearning the inhibition, the censoring.
The part that edits what you say.
Yeah.
So a lot of times...
The second guessing that we developed after time, after shame, after...
That second guessing is there, yes. It's like undoing the second guessing.
Using these primal sounds before language, before the thinking mind, drops us back into a place before we had developed elaborate stories.
Yes.
And when we come from that space, we can be more truthful and connected and in alignment with what we want to say.
Yes.
And if that's felt in you, it's felt in the receiver. And it makes you a better storyteller, communicator, friend, everything.
Listener.
Yes.
Also.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's interesting now with the trainings we're all doing. Like, we're all in so many trainings. I'm so excited Kelsey's here. But we all have so much information to share. Like, all the sacred teachings are there. So those scholars, like, study it, learn it, and share it. Apply it in your life. We have to be sharing this information now. And I think, you know, this primal work, it's not just about... Okay, so I'm just pausing, continuing to just like let go of, like, sometimes we get off on tangents, you know, and then dropping in for me to, like the other day when I was with you, Z, and you know, Z and I have a lengthy, long relationship, and sometimes triggers come up. So, like, for me, the primal work also, and all these other sacred teachings are just like, it was like I noticed when you were talking to Deidre, like I got triggered. Mm-hmm. And the primal work allows me to sit in an authentic self of mine. So it doesn't have to be making noises either. It could just be sitting in my authentic self, like getting like, hey, I just reacted, and I brought something ugly into the space. And so the primal work is just tapping into that authentic self, and it could be just speaking, hey, you know what, I'm sorry I said that and did that, and I love you, please forgive me. And so the primal work could be that simple.
And it can be, and I think that the primal work differs from other schools of thought where the maybe uglier ways of feeling come in and we immediately dismiss them. I feel like the primal work makes you sit with it for a minute, and then you're able to let it go because you're really processing instead of suppressing.
It's like it's a healthy way to process trauma. It's a healthy way to process what we consider negative things that occur in life, and actually not stuffing them in our body, but allowing them to process without hurting ourselves or others.
And to do it in a protected space under a system that's been developed
Yes.
to keep people protected and safe while it's happening is a very healthy thing.
I think, it's interesting because one of the things that does come up in the primal work is anger. People may get angry about wanting to do it or not wanting to do it, and it's that anger that we want to transcend and really transmute, allow the energy to flow
what's on
through.
the other side of that anger? But we have to go through the hallway of anger sometimes.
And and anger is okay, especially in our community of yogis. Sometimes we think like you have to be peaceful and you have to, be bright all the time, but it's very inauthentic and it's very unrealistic because who we are as human beings, and we have both sides, and we have the ability to choose which side we're going to feed. So listen, we're going to take a short break. I just want to express my deep gratitude for all of you being here. I feel like, this is a little reunion of the kids, and I'm so grateful for friendship. I'm so grateful for community.
Thank you so much.
That I think for me, it's the key. It's the key to my growth. It's the key to me expanding continually, is having a community that is continually looking to expand and grow, and a community that supports each other. And not only supports, lately I've been noticing the word support is interesting. But rather than supporting each other, because nobody needs that support, but we're elevating each other. A community that really cares about one another. So thank you all for being here and your time and who you are in the world. We're going to take a short break, and we just really want to thank all of our sponsors and our listeners. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We've been on the air for 8 months. We're a little baby, a startup, and we're looking for partners. If you in any way want to participate with Z Nation, you want to be a business or marketing partner, or you want to be an apprentice, we're looking to train a couple of people as apprentices in broadcasting and marketing. Give us a buzz or send us a message at ZNationRadio. When you go to ZNationRadio.com, there's a pop-up that comes up, and it will ask you for your email address. Leave it with us so that we can stay in touch and let you know what's going on. So we'll be back right after these messages right here on SoFloRadio.com.
Tune in to get tuned in. This is Z Nation on SoFloRadio.com.
Add a twist of yoga.
Yoga Twist with Julie.
A great way to integrate yoga, meditation, and lots of fun.
Promote family bonding. Help with flexibility and exercise.
Julie has been teaching kids for over 8 years in after-school programs, summer camps, and local studios.
Book a group, family, or one-on-one session now. Email me, yogatwistjulie@gmail.com.
Follow Yoga Twist Julie on Instagram and like Yoga Twist on Facebook for great family lifestyle tips and Yoga Twist events.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Clark, and I'm a yoga teacher and student at I Love Yoga Studio. It's been my privilege to practice, learn, and expand in this place of ever-evolving love and spiritual growth. When you visit, you'll most likely be greeted with a welcome home, and that's exactly how you will feel, at home and free to be. The studio offers yoga classes that meet you at your level of practice with affordable prices. So check out our schedule at www.iloveyogastudio.com. See you on the mat. Namaste.
Join the Z Nation team as a marketing partner. We are always looking for conscious, sustainable businesses to support and share with our growing community. If your business is one that serves humanity and you want the world to know, we want to help you grow. Sponsorship opportunities are available for all budgets and flavors. For more info, call us at 954-604-1290 or visit znationradio.com.
Now, back to Z Nation, your weekly dose of inspiration on SoFloRadio.com.
This song is dedicated to all the light workers, healers, to all the hustlers hustling that love and transformation. We feel y'all. We see y'all. Keep keeping on, y'all. Keep keeping on. 'Cause it's all good, baby, baby. It was all a dream. She used to read Yoga Journal magazine. Sean and Corn and Shiva Ray all in Lotus Scene. Taking selfies at the beach every Thursday teaching yoga. She's Miss Love to Love, y'all. She's let her hair down, she's raising funds. Smoking weed and bamboo. Sipping on that medicine stock way back. With the wings to match and the heart to match. Remember, she was writing blogs, updates from Kelsey. You always knew that she would take it this far. Now she's in her flow, right? Cause she's white light. Time to get paid, expand like the sun's ray. Goddess warrior, she is the root meaning of a woman. Remember when we used to sing Pachamama all night long? Peace to the trees and the sun and the moon, to the stars and the animals, y'all. She's blowing up like you knew she would. Call her crib, same number, same hood. It's all good, cause she knows very well who she is. Don't let the world bring you down. Kelsey says reach for the stars. You are a star among many, but you're the one the world's been waiting for. If you don't know, now you know, yogis. Ooh, that one we're still working on, but
That was good. I'm glad you
me and Sunset were working hard this morning at making that one work. What's my favorite line?
That was amazing.
No, it was supposed to go, smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on medicine stock, way back. She knew she was the ish with the white wings and the heart to match. You've got the heart to match. Kelsey, you're amazing. The whole message was like, you've always been so dreamy and amazing, and it's just beautiful to watch you grow. And you know, I know you've been on a journey since we last sat down and had a chat here. So just find out where you've been and what you've been up to. You traveled the country in your car?
I did. I was blessed to be able to get a new car in my life. Not new, but like new to me. And I've had it since April. I've put like 30,000 miles on it.
It's a little Prius, huh?
Yeah, a Prius, It's good on gas. It's a little spaceship. It's a spaceship cruising across the country. The first journey right after we met, I embarked on the Activate tour to go activate myself and activate with the land and different energies all over the country. And I was following this book called Terra Vision, and it talks about the vortex sites on the ley lines of the planet. So, we have we're like macrocosms and microcosms in many layers, and we can look at ourselves and all the energy within, and then look to nature to realize more of our own potential, more about what's within us. So these vortex sites, they hold different energies, different portals. So I went to these hot spots on the map in the United States and just really got to connect with the land and the spirits of nature in these different parts of the country and all the energy that's there, and meditate and do these sacred rituals and bring in other people who happen to be around for these prayers, for these meditations, these songs. And I spent like 5 weeks doing that
on the road.
road.
Kelsey, I don't know if you realize, you probably do, but I don't think you realize the extent at which you've inspired people. I've spoken to a few people who are, getting in their cars and they're getting ready to go on a road trip, and it's all because of you. Oh. And, I know people have
I'm one
this
of those
vision.
people.
Yes, people want to travel, but then they're like, well, I don't have the money. I have responsibilities. Everybody wants to do what you did. And how, what would you say to people who want to do what you did?
Huge. This was a big lesson for me. And embarking on this journey, I learned, I was given a lesson immediately, one of those tests. Like, I thought I was going to go with someone, and then I went alone. And that was a big leap of faith for me. And that really gave me the sense of security that I'd been missing my whole life, of like how provided for we really are, and how the earth and nature, like, we're born here, it's our birthright for survival. And there's so much abundance in the world, and just spending nights at a time, like several nights, just sleeping on the earth, and then like waking up and
you would camp out.
Oh yeah. And then if I ever needed to stay anywhere, keeping the funds limited. I didn't want to go spend a ton of money. Like, it wasn't like I was vacationing and going overboard. I would use something. If you don't know about couch surfing, you should check it out.
Oh yeah.
Because if I was out in the woods or up on a mountain or somewhere for a couple days, and then I wanted to shower and rest in a bed, I would go on couch surfing and then meet incredible people.
Wow.
And what that really showed me was how divine and guided our lives are when we're present. I loved you talking about the primal and being present, because if we're stuck in our head, we're missing out on the opportunities that lie in every conversation, you know, that lie in every interaction. And like even little stories like this tattoo I got was,
it's beautiful,
because I met a man. I stayed with him in Sedona, Arizona, on couch surfing, and he happened to own a tattoo shop, and he was just like, I want to give you a tattoo because you're awesome. And I was like, cool.
I love that.
And then I was like, I told him about the vortex sites, and he was like, well, I just made a line of natural dyed inks from the vortex sites of the red rocks in Sedona, so whichever rock you want. So I got some of the cathedral rock coloring in my skin, which is where I did one of my rituals on the road. So, you know, just like really memorable, meaningful souvenirs.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Wow.
It does require that trust to be on the road like that. And I think the more you trust, like the more you allow yourself to go there, the more you trust, and the more you know that you are taken care of. But it really takes actually doing it.
Oh yeah, and like here I am now. After that journey, I came back to Miami, and then I met up with one of my great teachers. Here I am right now too. Like, this is so beautiful because my two amazing teachers, Moses and Zayna, from the beginning, you know, from yoga teacher training, helping me peel off those layers with all of these beautiful techniques. The yoga practice and the meditation is what's kept me grounded throughout everything. And now I came back to Miami after the Activate tour and met up with Tue. He's from the Hunikuan people in Brazil in the Amazon jungle, and I met up with him, and then I started touring similar journeys again. I went back out to California, drove from Miami to California, met up with Tue and Juliana, and then we went on a tour for another month.
And you've been studying with them the teachings of the earth, the shaman teachings.
Yes.
And how's that been?
It's incredible. It's so liberating and so comforting to know that we truly have access to healing on all levels. And this is kind of where my journey began, was the suffering in the physical, suffering in the mental and the emotional, and definitely the spiritual. And I had to do a lot of clearing within myself to get to a point where I could like help others. But now I'm at a point where I'm always going to be healing myself. As long as I'm human, there's going to be things that need to be healed. But with always working on that and having that be my personal journey, and then being able to share with others, one of the big teachings in a lot of native cultures is that unity, that caring for community, and it starts with us, and then it branches out to our family, our immediate family. We have these ancestral ties. We have this like almost karmic obligation to extend out what we learn in this life, so that the people who are related to us can benefit as well. And that's been beautiful this year as well, to see my own blood relatives seek out healing from like these lineages that I've benefited from.
Yes.
And to show, like, you know, there's many ways, there's many paths, and they're all important, and they're all vital to our evolution and our survival, and just to honor and protect all of these ways and appreciate them for what they are. And like you both have had your experience now. Moses is in those worlds.
I'm so grateful that I connected to you, but then I'm connecting to all these sacred teachings through you, and not only intellectually, but a couple days ago I did the Cambo treatment. So I invite you all to look it up, because it's important. You know, the scientific mind for lots of people needs to understand that, like the medical history of it and the testing. So look it up, because it's very powerful. The components in this frog medicine, this Cambo, is very purifying for the human body, the human system, and the mind and the brain. So I had this treatment, and I want to get 2 more treatments because it's advised to get 3. But immediately I felt like a cosmic shift, activation, and cleansing and purification, specifically because you purge a lot. You drink a couple gallons of water and you purge. And I felt like, you know that sound when the furnace goes on? I felt like the furnace go on in my hara, my dantian, my navel, and I felt this huge cleansing of my digestive system. And this has like been a big challenge for me. You know, if like I'm eating because of emotions, and then the digestive system for lots of people gets clogged, and then inflammation, and then the system starts to shut down, and we don't realize it, So thank you so much. And those of you listening, look it up and, tune into your inner guidance. Find Kelsey and have Kelsey guide you to the next, level if you need that, because she's a wealth of information on this healing.
Yeah, I think, Kelsey, you're just such an amazing example of just courage. Like you appear as fearless. You just go for it, and I follow you on Facebook, and I see your posts, and you're my friend, and I'm always inspired by your willingness to just go there and share with people. And you're also a great example of, like, the saying, your mess is your message. I know you originally moved to Florida because you were dealing with addiction, and you were healing that for yourself, and now this is something that you really understand for yourself, and you give access to people, for people to find out how to heal themselves from addiction issues. What have you discovered for yourself?
Thank you, Z. Yeah, for myself, for sure, there's no coincidences in life. Our mess is our message, for sure. Whatever it is that gives us experience in those deep levels of humanity, that's exactly where we should be focusing our efforts to create a positive shift when we find that healing for ourselves. And it's also related, what Moses was saying about the food, like, that's an addiction as well. There's so many things that us as spiritual beings, we are seeking. We're seeking that connection. We're seeking that comfort. We're seeking that feeling of knowing that no matter what, everything's okay. And for me, that's what I've really discovered with my relationship with the earth and my relationship with plants and people, but all coming from that core of, like, harmony in this life, harmony with the earth, harmony within ourselves, and then within our relations. But I also teach yoga and meditation, and in recovery centers, so for drug and alcohol addiction, and also that goes into food addiction, sex addiction. And the family member that I've been working with, who's been working with the Kambo, that was a big thing for them, was like eating emotionally, and then having all of these negative health repercussions, and weight problems, all this stuff that's like, when they received the Kambo, then there was a huge shift. It's like, wow, now I eat to nourish my body, not to suffocate my emotions. And it's really powerful that these medicines and these teachings have the power to affect the mind in that way, and like create shifts and bring a more sense of completion to the soul and the spirit, where you're like, wow, I don't need to be in this constant state of struggle. And it's all connected. There's a lot of studies that show that these types of healing ceremonies and rituals and using these medicines help people a lot with drug and alcohol addiction. I'm really blessed to be in the South Florida community, like having those communities intertwine. One of the centers that I work at, the man who runs it, he's like the clinical director. He's very into shamanism and traditional healing and music therapy, all of these things, and he totally understands it, and he's up with like the studies of what's possible, and to look at ourselves as complete beings. Not the Western culture has really diminished the importance of spiritual well-being and emotional well-being. We look a lot at the physical and the mental from a view of psychology, and looking still at the mind and the brain in a psychological way, like that it's all just about chemical reactions in the brain or like neurotransmitters, and it is, but it's more than that too. And that's something that is really powerful for me to find what I believe is like true medicine, true healing, rather than like the Band-Aid or so I'm about to go to Brazil in like 2.5 weeks. And
you're on another journey. So you're going to study in Brazil.
I'm going to the jungle. I'm going to the Amazon to actually connect with these living plants as they are in their natural environment, to connect with these people who their ancestors hold the teachings, the sacred teachings of how these plants started to come into our humanity, you know, like how we were gifted the knowledge of how to work with these plants. And there's so many different things. Like there's plants that you make to drink in teas. There's plants that you make to put in your eyes and eye drops. There's plants that you make to put in your nose, on your skin, to bathe with, to pray with. Like there's so many things, and it's just, you know, you say I'm fearless. I'm a little scared.
Well, you know, that's the illusion, is that you're fearless, but you're courageous. You know, 'cause I get it. Like, yeah, it's everything you do is amazing, and there must be some fear that comes up or something, but it doesn't show because you just go for it. And you keep jumping off the high diving board, and people are watching you, and they're so inspired.
I appreciate
You know,
that.
even like, I just want to say this, like you say the Elevate tour, and then you work at recovery centers, like you live a life, like a dream life, you know, that a lot of people who come out of teacher training or just getting started in their healing path want to live. They want to come out of the corporate environment, and they want to live this full-time holistic life. And I just want to say you didn't go through a talent agency that booked you on the Elevate tour or that booked you on all those recovery centers. You did that yourself.
No, I created this.
You have to create it. We have to
right.
create our path, and know that there's like, it's a vacuum. The universe is waiting for you to create that, because it's a time right now for healers to be out healing and elevating other human beings. So thank you for being that example.
And it doesn't have to be the typical way. A lot of people think like, oh, after I come out of teacher training, I have to go to a studio. And it's like, no, like, who do you want to work with? You know, who do you connect with? And I feel you about the recovery center. And I love doing that too, because like for me, I tell them like, we all have addictions. The only difference is that yours is like legal or whatever, and mine isn't. And like really connecting with them, and like using that primal stuff too, you know, like telling them like, hey, listen, it's okay, like use this time to create the life you want. And don't see this as, oh, I'm a bad person, or look what happened, I got caught. Like, no, like create you. And so like you bringing this to like, especially like recovery centers, like making a safe space for people to just be and not feel like a stigma.
Absolutely. And I think one big breakthrough that I had at some point along my journey, and it still comes up a little bit for me, but especially with the music right now, for me, music is like, brings me so much joy. But I look back, and this was always a story of my life that held me back, that created limitations with myself. And it was like, I'm not good enough, or ever, like, you know, there's other yoga teachers, or there's other people singing, or there's other people traveling, like they have something that I don't have. And that's such a illusion, you know, like there's enough room in this world for everyone to live in their bliss and do exactly what they want to do, create what they want to create. There's like, we've been raised that we're in competition with one another, but we're not. And there's enough space for us all to be exactly who we want to be. And this is our life. And like any day or moment that you spend doing something that you're not wanting to do, like that's, you know, you got to take a look at yourself and just say, what am I really doing here? If today's my last day, or, you know, look at when I'm at the end of my life, looking back at everything that I've done and accomplished and all the experiences I had, like I've known since I was little that I just wanted to put my bare feet on every inch of this earth before I left. And you know, that's what I'm going to do. And the medicine, these teachings, healing, being in the space of healing for people has been my calling. So it's a beautiful thing that path now opens me up to the opportunity to fulfill my dreams of traveling the world, and in a beautiful way. Like no matter where I go, I'm surrounded by love, and that I believe is a reflection of me, but also, you know, a testament to the reality we can create together when we all come together in these ways. And it's really beautiful, and that's what I'm really present with. No matter what's going on in the world, you know, what are you thinking about? What are you talking about? What are you creating? What are the actions that you're taking? And if we all focus on that for ourselves, then, you know, the work is already done.
Like you said before, it's just like everybody wants to know that it's all okay. And then, you know, if that's who you be, that all is well, then everything around you is that. I would love to share a song. You want to share your song? Well, not your song, but share the song.
Okay,
Thank
so
you, John Lennon.
Yeah, this is so it was my birthday on Monday.
Happy birthday,
Thank
Kelsey!
you. And the only reason I say that is because a dear friend of mine, you guys know Miguel, he's an amazing musician.
Yes.
Amongst other things, but he gave me a ukulele, and like, so I've been practicing the guitar for a couple months, so I'm really new, and that's one of the things for me. Like I said, music, it's like there's so many great musicians, but when I sing and when I play, it makes me so happy and it brings people together, you know. So when I got this guitar on Monday after, you know, a beautiful weekend in my life, but then I got present to like a crazy weekend in the world. You know, the world is just, there's so many things coming to the surface right now, that this song just kept calling to me, and you all know it, so you can sing with me. All right. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. You imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer.
You may say we're a dreamer.
but I'm the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
Thanks. I lost my music a little bit there in the middle, but it's okay because you guys, our voices carried us. Yeah, we have our friends. Exactly.
But you know this. Thank you so much. I was like trying to reach over. I was moved. I was just moved by us singing, and you know, just the energy that we put out when we're together. It's so important right now. It's so important to like just stay in that light space, to stay in the gratitude space, and just keep being in action, in alignment with what you were saying, Kelsey, in alignment with your calling.
Yes.
Don't ignore that calling. Listen to it, be in action towards it, talk about it, just go for it.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
In addition to that, when Kelsey inspired me with what she was saying, because in my experience going to New York and doing this performance and challenging myself, there's a quote that I had always read that said, there's room for everyone on this planet to be conscious and creative as long as you're being yourself. And I always read it, and it sounded nice. You know, and it's a thing I saved in my phone because I thought I'd post it one day. But after my experience of realizing that nobody has your set of experiences or lack of.
Yes.
Nobody has your stories. Nobody's been hurt the way you have.
Yes.
Nobody has bounced back the way that you have.
Yes.
So as long as you're yourself and not trying to be anyone else, then you don't need permission from a university or, you know, from the government.
Certification.
Or from an agency or your parents.
Oh, that's so great.
Or your small self.
Or all the voices. All you need to know is that you're being you,
Society.
and nobody's going to do a better job of being you.
Oh, thank you for saying that, Sergio. I think that comes up for a lot of us. Like, we see people who are doing the same thing. Oh, it's like, she's teaching yoga too, and like you said, she's playing music, and she's doing this, and she's doing that, and it feels like, well, who cares?
They can't play like me.
Yeah, and then you're you, and you have that special, unique flavor of you, and nobody else has that.
And when you have your unique flavor, there are people that will come because that's you know, it's like your small vineyard, and people that want your wine will come and drink it.
Well, there's that great movie for everyone to check out. It's called Finding Joe.
Finding Joe.
And at the end of the movie, it says Finding Joe, and then it starts scrolling through everyone's name real quick, and then it ends up with Finding You.
Yeah.
And we're all discovering that. You know what I was thinking? Can we sing another song?
We have
I know, I want to say
we
it.
have 5 minutes and we were gonna do a little meditation, but we could do both. We can fit both in.
I wanted to like bring in real quick before we end about talking about everything Brazil and all of that.
Well, I know that you have a GoFundMe.
Yeah, I would love to just share that because it's been really incredible. Money is just a resource, and it's a currency. It's a current that's constantly flowing. And for me personally on this journey, it's not like super important to me, but it is a real thing. And I've had a lot of beautiful people in the community come forth and show their support who maybe are coming from a space of a little more financial abundance. And all of this money is helping to fund what's happening with the connections between the intercultural ties between the people of the Amazon and then our culture, which is really beneficial for the sharing of these medicines and these teachings. So they charge a certain amount to bring people into their village to make it workable for the travel and all of this. So I have a GoFundMe site, and it's just to help that movement move, so it's a GoFundMe /Sacred Healing.
GoFundMe.com/Sacred Healing. And we'll have also a link up on the YouTube station on the website. So if you're so moved to do so and you want to donate a little green currency to Kelsey's journey and her teachings and her work in the world, please.
I'd like to, I was thinking to myself, like right when you started talking, it's like we're all present. We all have ego. And sometimes we want to do things because we want to look good or be known or recognized. And this is okay. We can be with that. But if we could recognize it and then drop into like a more sacred place in our heart, then we could start to be aware of these things I was talking about. So like for me, from that sacred space, from me and Z and Sergio and Mama Julie and Sunset and Gina and Melody, Sunset's sister, Melody in the house, and Soulflow Radio would like to donate $100.
Oh my God.
And I would love for you all from your heart of abundance and prosperity for this beautiful teacher, whether it's $1 or 10,000, wherever you are, if you got it, give it, because you can't outgive God.
'Cause you can't outgive God.
Thank you so much, Moses. And, if for any of you listening to, please reach out to me. My intention is to come back more knowledgeable, more experienced, and to continue to give back to the community. And I always work with people. That's money for me is it never will be an obstacle. It never will be an obstacle. So whether it's something that you need from me and money is an obstacle for you, talk to me, because I'm always willing to share. It's so much bigger than that. And I really appreciate your generosity. You help me now, I help you later, that type of thing. It's always flowing.
You're helping me now. There is no yet, right. And there is no later. It's just like I get to learn this lesson of noticing ego and allowing it to be there, accepting and dropping into my heart and giving and being inclusive. Like it's all inclusive.
Thank you.
And I love
Thank
you. I love
so
Sergio.
much.
I love this whole
And it's really beautiful because I get you were talking about the inspiration. I know we're almost out of time. I'm sorry, but the inspiration, a lot of times we look at other people too, like, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. I look at my brothers and sisters elated, like, thank you for being who you are. Like, continue doing what you do, because I do what I do. And because you are who you are, it lets me be who I am.
It's all reciprocal.
So, by supporting this journey, going to the jungle and like connecting with these people from a really deep space in my heart, from really strong presence, taking in everything I can, I'm going to bring it back, and it's going to integrate, and it's all connected. That like it's for us. It's not for me. It is for me, but it's for us.
Yes. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, dear friends, for being on the show. We're going to wrap it up. If you're in a place where you can sit up, please do. And Sergio's going to take us on a journey. Take a deep breath in.
Send love out. Send love out. Be your best self. Be your best self. Find comfort in your body. Find comfort in your heart. Be nice. Go deep. Keep energy moving. Keep energy moving. Rest. Detach. attach, reattach, repeat, drink water, relax, and rinse well.
Repeat. Do it all over again.
Do it all over again.
Oh my God, we are so blessed. We are so grateful. Thank you all so much for tuning in for another hour of Z Nation with beautiful people doing amazing things. And listen, we know who you are. We see you. We know that you are thebomb.com and you are a badass doing badass stuff in the world. So please keep keeping on. Thank you. We inspire each other. We love you. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Aho. Peace.
From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com.